So at this point in time, it's August 14th, and that means that Samsung's second and last Unpacked event for the year has come and gone now. Now, usually, Note fans like myself would have a new Note to talk about, but this year, we didn't get one. Instead, we got two foldables, but for the individuals also like myself, we aren't ready to give up on the Note series, even if its creators are. So, needless to say, the question that's left lingering is, what can I get that won't make me give up the features I love about my Note? Well, hopefully today we're going to answer that question. Today we're going to be looking at what's currently the last Note device in existence and what could possibly be its replacement. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra and the Galaxy S21 Ultra. Now, before we do start, I want to give a fair notice that I will be taking a look at the specifications of these devices mainly in this video. I will have a separate video coming out that will detail the available S Pen experience for both. So please definitely look out for that. As far as what comes in the box, with the Note 20 Ultra, you're going to get a USB Type-C to C cable right here. You're going to get your charging brick, the 25-watt charging brick, your SIM ejector tool, and then your S Pen, which is going to come inside of the actual device itself. For the S21 Ultra, you're going to get a SIM ejector tool and a USB C to C cable, and that is literally it. If you notice, there is no charger because Samsung so wanted to basically say that they wanted to save the earth and they just think that everybody else has a charger, but we all know what they're doing. They're trying to copy off their main competitor. I'm calling that out because we should have a 25-watt charger or some kind of charger in here. It's ridiculous. But maybe that's my opinion anyway. So the Note 20 Ultra is a more expensive device, coming in at a starting price of $1299.99. This comes with 128 gigabytes of storage and 12 gigabytes of RAM. Now, this can go up to about $150 more, and that's for the 512 gigabytes of storage with 12 gigabytes of RAM. The S21 Ultra is going to start you at $1,200, and that's going to be with 128 gigabytes of storage and 12 gigabytes of RAM. Add $50 more, and you get a boost in storage, which comes to 256 gigabytes of storage, but the RAM doesn't change and it's still going to be 12 gigabytes. But if you add $130 more, you'll get 512 gigabytes of storage and 16 gigs of RAM. Now, I said this before in my unboxing, but I want to say it again. For the S21 Ultra, it is imperative that you choose the right storage option for you because there is no longer a memory card slot in this phone. The Note 20 Ultra does definitely have one, but if you are going with the S21 Ultra or any of the S21 series for that matter, you want to choose the storage that is going to be right for you. As far as your color choices, for the Note 20 Ultra, you're going to have the Mystic Bronze, which is what you see here, the Mystic Black, and the Mystic White. If you go for the 128 gigabyte storage option, you'll have access to all three of those colors. While if you go for the 512 gigabyte option, you'll only have access to the Mystic Black. For the S21 Ultra, you have 5 different colors, including the Phantom Black, which is what you see here, the Phantom Silver, and 3 exclusive colors on Samsung.com. Those colors are Phantom Titanium, Phantom Navy, and Phantom Brown. It's also worth noting that the exclusive colors come with a different texture for the camera back. Now, if you go for the 128 gigabyte storage option, you have access to all 5 colors. However, if you go for the 256 and the 512 gigabyte options, you only have access to every other color with the exception of silver. And on top of that, the exclusive colors actually take a little bit longer to ship. The last time I checked, I think it was about 4 to 5 weeks. I don't know if that time has gotten down, but definitely plan accordingly if you want one of those. Design-wise, the phones are also very similar, with the exception that if you look very closely at the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, the display is actually a little bit wider here, or it appears to be, while on the Galaxy S21 Ultra, it's more rounded. What's similar is that you do have the front-facing cameras right here at the top. If we move over to the right side of the devices, you can also see that the power button is still in the same exact place right over here. And so are the volume rockers right here. You're down and you're up. One thing you will notice, however, is that the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra actually looks like it had its camera bump just glued onto it, kind of. That's the best way I could explain it. While on the S21 Ultra, the camera bump actually seems fluid with the metal frame here. If we turn around to the back of the devices, please excuse my fingerprints if those show up. Both of the devices are also very similar. So they're both a matte glass. The Note 20 Ultra actually has Gorilla Glass 6 for its camera, while on the S21 Ultra, it's all Gorilla Glass Victus wherever there is glass on the back here. If we move over to the left side of the device, also very similar. So the big difference here is that you have 2 antenna breathers on the left side of the S21 Ultra and only 1 on the side of the Note 20 Ultra. On the top of the devices, you'll notice a big change here. So if you look at the left of the Note 20 Ultra, there's the SIM card tray right there, and then there's that antenna line next to it. On the S21 Ultra, the SIM card tray is no longer there. You're left with just 2 mics right at the top, whereas on the Note 20 Ultra, you have that one there. But if you look to the bottom of the device, this is now where the SIM card tray is located. And another thing about the bottom of the devices is that the Note 20 Ultra is actually wider to accommodate that S Pen that you see to the left. And also you have those 2 antenna lines just like you have on the S21 Ultra, but the speakers are on the right side for the S20, well, speaker is on the right side for the S21 Ultra, and the Note 20 Ultra has it on the left side. And then the last thing you're going to have there is that USB Type-C port. As far as the weight for both of these devices, both feel very good in the hand. However, I do prefer the feeling of the S21 Ultra. There is an added heft to it that just makes it feel a little bit more premium. Not to say that the Note 20 Ultra is any slouch, but personally, I just prefer the weight of this device. The last thing to say about the design is that the cameras are not flush, so if you do put your phone on a table without a case, it's going to tip over. Both devices are IP68 water resistant, so what that means is that as long as you take your phone out within 30 minutes and it goes up to about 5 feet of water, you're going to be completely fine. And as you can see here, I just put both of these devices in water and they still work. Now, I'm not going to keep these in here for 30 minutes, but you get what I'm getting at. The similarities for both of the displays consist of the fact that they both use curved glass and Samsung's AMOLED tech underneath. The Galaxy S21 Ultra has a slightly less curved screen than the Note 20 Ultra, but then again, the Notes are usually wider. Those AMOLED panels underneath are now backed by the fairly new LTPO tech that allows displays to do better in performance but use less energy in key areas like battery drain. This is going to be compared to their predecessors. Both displays also have a 120 hertz refresh rate option that can be used, and they're also HDR10 plus compatible. Now, the difference between the displays is the fact that the Note 20 Ultra has a zero point 0.9 bigger display coming in at 6.9 versus the S21 Ultra's 6.8-inch display. The Note 20 Ultra also has a little bit of a lower resolution at 3088 by 1440 versus the 3200 by 1440 resolution on the S21 Ultra. Now, as I said before, both of these displays are capable of 120 Hz refresh rates. However, the Note 20 Ultra is only allowed to use that refresh rate with the FHD Plus or HD Plus resolution. It cannot run its full refresh rate, that full 120 Hz refresh rate, with the full resolution. You will be knocked down to 60 Hz. This is not the case with the S21 Ultra. It can actually run both 120 Hz rate and the 3200 by 1440 resolution, and it can also do that with battery to spare, if I might add. The maximum brightness for the display on the Note 20 Ultra is going to be 1609 nits at its peak, and on the S21 Ultra, that runs at 1500 nits at its peak. It is also worth noting that the LTPO display on the S21 Ultra is supposed to be 16% more efficient, so that's also a plus. So personally, I don't believe in doing benchmarks because I don't feel like they tell the full story of what these phones are like to use on a day-to-day basis, but I figured I'd let these go for anybody out there who would find this information useful. And this test was going to take really long, which is why you're seeing it more than halfway done. So moving on to the processor and RAM, the Note 20 Ultra is going to be using the Snapdragon 865 Plus, while the S21 Ultra uses the Snapdragon 888. The difference is that the Snapdragon 888 has a new 5nm processor applied to it. What this means to the average user is that, yes, technically the Note 20 Ultra does use, let's say, a little bit more power in that regard, in regards to its processor, but will that be such a big difference that it would be something to worry about? Personally, I'd say no. But other people may beg to differ, especially when you're playing games or anything along those lines. All right, so here's the other part of the test, and the Note 20 Ultra has just finished. Both of these devices utilize Samsung's own LPDDR5 RAM modules. As a reminder, the Note 20 Ultra is only going to be available with 12 gigabytes of RAM, no matter which option you go with, while the S21 Ultra will give you the choice of having 12 gigabytes of RAM or 16 gigabytes of RAM with a 512 gigabyte storage option. I'd say the overall performance on both devices is good. They both perform speedily and steadily, and I truly don't think anybody is going to have any issues with the day-to-day performance no matter which one you choose. The RAM management for both devices is mostly similar also. If you do happen to have an issue with a particular app, or certain apps closing even when you know you have tons of memory left, you can also go into the device care section within settings and tap memory. Here, if those particular apps are being optimized, that most likely would be the reason you're having the issue. And I actually didn't do this before this test, but it seems like the S21 Ultra is a tiny bit more aggressive, as you can see at the end of this test when it has to reload the Xbox Game Pass app. One of the benefits of having these devices as a choice is that both of them actually do have 5G. And that 5G radio in there is actually using both technologies, sub 6 and millimeter wave. Now, I have some of my 5G test results here on the screen. I know these are not the best representation of it. However, this is all I have right now. I did a lot of these tests in the same exact place, and some of them I actually did in a different place. So you can take a look on the screen and see if you find anything here interesting. Wi-Fi wise, both of them actually benefit from having the latest standards in Wi-Fi. However, the S21 Ultra takes it up a notch by adding Wi-Fi 6E. What that means is that you now have access to the 6 gigahertz band, which should theoretically give you a lot less interference and much more bandwidth. Of course, you need to have a Wi-Fi 6E router in order for you to see those differences, but it's built into the S21 Ultra. Now, the Bluetooth version on both devices are different. So the Note 20 Ultra actually uses Bluetooth 5.0, while the S21 Ultra uses Bluetooth 5.2. One of the benefits I've seen with Bluetooth 5.2, at least one of the ones that was interesting to me, is the low energy power control. And what that means is if you have another Bluetooth 5.2 device that the S21 Ultra is connected to, it can kind of control the quality of the signal, reduce error rates doing that, and save you better battery life by controlling that quality of the signal. Now, I know that that specification stated that you have to have two Bluetooth 5.2 devices. However, the Galaxy Watch 3, which is what I have, I connected that to my S21 Ultra, and ever since I've been getting significantly better battery life on it versus when it's connected to my Note 20 Ultra. So make of that what you will. Additional connectivity options include a USB 3.2 Gen 1 port on both devices. That port actually supports wired HDMI as well as DisplayPort. And you can also cast your screen or DeX wirelessly to a TV or to a different monitor if you have. Both devices also support ultra wideband, which is a new standard that's supposed to change the way that we interact with devices with our phones. For instance, one of the examples was you can use your phone as a car key of sorts, or with Samsung's recently released Smart Tag, you're able to pinpoint the location of whatever you put that smart tag on. So like if you lost your keys or something along those lines, if you get that Smart Tag Plus, which I'm going to be doing a review on at some point, you can actually point your phone in that direction and pretty much you can find out exactly where that key is. Both devices also have NFC support. However, one big difference is that the Note 20 Ultra supports MST. Now, what is MST? MST is what allowed you to use your phone sort of as a credit card anywhere. It would allow you to basically take your phone and just put it where you would normally swipe a credit card or kind of put a credit card into a machine. And that was really convenient because that means that, you know, during this COVID era, you didn't have to touch a machine or anything. You could just hover your phone up there. But Samsung has taken it out of the Galaxy S21 Ultra. It's no longer there, even though they do list it on one of the infographics they have, which I'm not sure why. Moving on to one of the more important specifications, and probably the only reason most people will upgrade, or at least a lot of people will upgrade, the cameras. So starting with the Note 20 Ultra, you're going to have a 10 megapixel selfie camera right on the front there. And on the S21 Ultra, you're going to have a 40 megapixel camera. So when we turn around to the back of these phones, things start to get a little bit more interesting. Starting with the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, you're going to get a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, a 108 megapixel, yes, I said 108 megapixel if you haven't heard about that already, a 108 megapixel wide angle camera, a 12 megapixel telephoto camera, and you're going to have your other standard things like your laser autofocus and your flash. On the S21 Ultra, you're going to get a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera again, a 108 megapixel wide angle camera again, but the big difference is that you have two 10 megapixel telephoto cameras on the back, and what these are used for is the fact that you have dual optical zoom on the S21 Ultra. One set at 3 times optical zoom and one set at a hybrid of 10 times optical zoom. Now, the specifications on these cameras might seem compelling, but honestly, they won't tell you the full story until you actually use them. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a look at some of the sample shots that I got using the rear cameras on both of these phones. Fair warning, I only did the rear cameras on these phones because that's where the biggest improvement was made, and I also didn't want to make this video unnecessarily long, even though it pretty much is pretty long. Alright, so hopefully those samples give you an idea of what it's like to use the rear cameras on these devices. Now, of course, one of the most important parts of any device these days is its speakers. So let's go ahead and do this test. I'm going to start with the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, and I'm just going to play some music, and hopefully this will give you an idea of how these speakers sound on both of these devices. Alright, so that was the Note 20 Ultra. I wasn't actually going to stop that. I was getting into it a little bit too much, but let's go ahead and do the Galaxy S21 Ultra now. Alright, so there is the speaker on both of these devices. So another thing you shouldn't have to worry about is the microphone performance on both of these devices. They pretty much have a dual mic setup. I do have a test here for both of these microphones, just something I recorded a few seconds ago, or a few minutes ago. I don't remember how long ago I did it, but I did record it. So let's start with the Note 20 Ultra. This is a test of the microphones on the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra and on the Galaxy S21 Ultra. Hopefully I am sounding clear and coming through clearly. I said clear 2 times. Alright, and then the S21 Ultra. This is a test of the microphones on the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra and on the Galaxy S21 Ultra. Hopefully I am sounding clear and coming through clearly. I said clear 2 times. Okay, so yeah, there goes that test. Now, within that test, one of the things I did want to say is that, yes, the microphones on these things are pretty darn sensitive. It was actually picking up my air conditioner, central air, so I couldn't stop that. It was picking up that air conditioner in the background. I don't know if you can hear it or so. I'm recording on a different device than both of these. But yeah, like I said, it's going to pick up everything, and you should not have a problem with that at all. When it comes to the charging standards for both devices, they're both going to be exactly the same. So what you'll find here is fast wireless charging 2.0, USB power delivery 3.0. They're also adaptive fast charging compatible as well as quick charge 2.0 compatible. You also have the wireless power share on board. So if you need to give another device that has wireless charging in it a boost, you can definitely do that with both of these devices. Now, where they differ is in terms of their battery. So the Note 20 Ultra has a 4500 milliamp battery, and they've upped that on the S21 Ultra by 500 to give you 5000 milliamps. So on paper, it would look like the Galaxy S21 Ultra has the advantage here in terms of the battery, but as always, it's gonna come down to how efficient the parts are and what you're actually doing on these devices. So what we're gonna do now is this little charge down test or charge dissipation test, whatever you wanna call it. Those are probably wrong, whatever. And we're gonna play this video of Japan, a place that I definitely hope to visit sometime in my lifetime. And we're just gonna see exactly how much these batteries decrease within a 30-minute span. Now to try and make this test a little more fair, I put both devices at their highest resolutions they can support while having the 120 hertz frame rate on. I turned the Bluetooth and the NFC off, and I turned on Do Not Disturb, so hopefully I won't get any notifications while this test is going on. So let's get these devices off of here. All right, there we go. They look to be about the same. All right, so we'll be back in 30 minutes or probably more because I'm probably gonna get distracted. All right, so I got overly sidetracked. I knew that was gonna happen. I have a very short attention span, sometimes, a lot of times. I'm human. But anyway, let's go ahead and check and see what battery life these phones have on them. All right, so I actually left that video playing for a couple more hours, and what I was trying to do is just make it so that the phones get down to the lowest that they can. And what I'm actually gonna do now is I'm gonna do a charging test. So I'm gonna be using the 25-watt charging bricks that come with the devices, as you can see here. So what's gonna happen now is we're just gonna charge these for a certain amount of time. I'm thinking somewhere within the 15 to 20 minute range. So let's see if I can get these in at the same time. Yeah, I'm not gonna get these in at the same time. All right, so that's in and that's in. And now, let's see. It's 9:17 p.m. right now. All right, so I am back, and from what I can see here, both of these are actually at 95%, and the estimated time is 13 minutes until full. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just going to take these out, and I'm gonna finish off the rest via wireless charging so we can see how that kind of works in there. And let's see how far it goes. All right, so I am back now, and these are actually fully charged. So I would probably say within a 5-minute span, you're gonna get a pretty decent wireless charge. This was just to kind of give you an idea of what it's like to do the wireless charging. On the software side, I really couldn't find anything significant to really say. As you can see, both devices are on One UI 3.1 at this point, and the only big difference I would say, at least in the future, might be that the Galaxy S21 gets Android 12 or any sort of upgrades before the Note 20 Ultra does. As a matter of the fact, the only thing I could actually find that was different within the software was this. On the S21 Ultra, you have the director's view, which allows you to switch between all three cameras, the ultra wide, wide, and I believe one of the telephotos. See here? And then on the Note 21 Ultra, it only allows you to go between one of the back cameras for some reason and the front camera. I guess this would actually be the wide angle camera. Now, for anybody out there who is interested in security, you'll be happy to know that both devices have an in-display fingerprint. However, the big difference with the S21 Ultra is that they've improved on it. So it's supposedly supposed to have a 77% larger fingerprint reading area. It's 50% faster, and it takes in 1.7 times more data. So we're going to do a little test right now and just kind of see what the differences are between both. All right, so as you can see, the Note just takes a little bit more precision, but once you get it, it pretty much works the exact same way. And there you have it. So yeah, essentially with a Note, it's just going to take muscle memory. You just kind of got to pinpoint your touches there. But it's definitely a little bit easier on the S21 due to the improvements that they made. Oh, and for anybody who's interested in the face unlock, you'll be happy to know that it actually works on both devices too. The last bit of information I can share with you on security is the fact that the S21 Ultra has a new feature in the form of Knox Vault. And what that is basically kind of like this subsystem that's tamper-proof. It's kind of like a solution that Samsung has been developing for years, and it's hardware within hardware. So it's an actual processor, it has its own memory, and essentially what it's made to do is make it so that if your phone is ever stolen or, hackers try to get in or something like that, it's made to be sort of its own little, I guess you could say, kind of locker within all the other security aspects of the phone. You should definitely go look it up if you really want to read more about it, because I probably explained it horribly, but I wanted to let you all know about it. Alright, so we went over a lot of information in this video, but I hope that it was helpful to you all. And as always, my aim is to just give you the information that'll help you in making an informed choice. In my opinion, both devices would be fitting of any individual, but I am curious to see what people who currently own a Note device think about the possibility of having the S21 be their new replacement for 2021. Now, as I said also at the beginning of this video, I'll be making a dedicated video about the S Pen, its different iterations, and how they relate to both devices. The reason for this is because I want to get my hands on the S Pen Pro and see if my judgments about it so far are validated. So again, please look out in the near future for that video. And usually I will end up ending the video by saying, wherever you are in the world, just have a great day or have a great night. But I want to leave you all with some words of inspiration instead. And what I want to say is always follow your dreams, because if you follow someone else's, you'll be asleep forever. This is pretty much a hard lesson I had to learn recently, and I hope my words can help someone else out there. It's pretty much also the reason why I haven't been making so many videos. I definitely want to thank every single person who comes across this channel, or even the ones who subscribe. It means a lot. I actually was sitting on this video since the winter, believe it or not. That's why if you're seeing any variations within parts of this video, it's because I had to kind of shift things around and just make it work pretty much at that point. So with that being said, I will see you all in the next video.